I drove all the way from Pennsylvania. It took me about 16 hours. My big worry was just being down here for a day and then having to go all the way back. It would be kind of a letdown.
I guess there's nothing lower than being a rookie when you're in camp. You know, that's as low as you can get.
I didn't enjoy rookie camp, and I'm glad I'll never have to be a rookie again.
Well, I don't know. When I came here, you know, I had visions of making a football team. And then the first thing that hits you is well, we have 90 people and we're going to cut 65 by Friday.
I would say that the chances are good that 4 or 5 rookies will make our 38-man roster.
The Rookie is sponsored by the professionals at Bluff City Buick GMC, the South's largest Buick dealer.
When I first got the idea of going through a professional training camp with the Memphis Southmen, the overall reaction I got was that of disbelief from just about everybody. But when I told them that many people had taken a look at professional football, but it had been from the sidelines, and unless you cross that imaginary border that separates the fan from the player, you can't really know or feel what professional football is all about. You have to cross that sideline. You have to get on the field. You have to put on the pads and take the bumps and the bruises and sweat a little before you can feel what a professional football player's life is all about. And that's one of the reasons I decided to do it this way, to participate with the player. Not to be a professional football player, but to feel like a professional football player, to feel what he felt. I went down to Senatobia and spent a week and a half with the team. I ate from the training table. I went through the 2-a-day practices, and I got several bumps and bruises. And I think it all started was with the physicals. And in the physicals, they were much more intense than what I thought they would be. I thought it would just be a simple physical. But you go in and they give you an electrocardiogram for your heart, and they have you all wired up, which is a little bit scary. Then they take you into a room and they check your body from head to toe. They check your knee joints to see that they'll be able to take the tremendous impact of getting hit in professional football. They check your shoulders, they check your neck, they check you all over from head to toe. And once you get by there, and believe it or not, many of the rookies didn't pass the physical. For them, their professional career ended there at the physicals. But for those of us who passed it, we went down to Senatobia, and our first real test was that of running the mile, which was a little bit scary to me because I saw that most of these football players that were supposed to be in super shape, they were having a little trouble. Running the mile is a pretty tough thing. But I was glad that I had run a couple of weeks before going to camp. My time showed that. I had a 6:54 in the mile, which isn't too slow, but it isn't too fast. But to many of the players, I think this showed them that I was dead serious in what I was going to try to do during the next week and a half.
Okay. 6:51, 6:52, 6:53, 6:54. All right, good job. Names and times, fellas. Names and times, Max. Steve. Ramon.
What's that? 6:28. 6:28.
What time I get? But I think I really realized, and the impact really hit me, of what was going to happen when I first got fitted for my helmet.
How's that feel now?
Does this have to be that tight?
It has to be real tight. Keep your head from coming out of it. Now, let's hold on. Let me see if we can move your head. How's it feel? Good and snug.
Should it be any higher than that?
That you got to have some movement in the helmet. Some movement has got to have in the helmet. Everything else looks good. You tight, chin straps on there good. How's it feel?
Yeah, it feels pretty good.
Feels pretty good.
All right, that was very good.
Now we're going.
first of all, before we bring him here, we've already satisfied many questions about his ability to play, if he's competitive, if he has the adequate size and the adequate speed. We've already satisfied those answers by checking him out as a college player before we even bring him to camp. Now, once you get him here and we cast him, we try to put him in a real competitive situation. As you know, we brought the rookies in early and let them bang against each other and compete against each other, and we kept what we felt were the best of the rookies. And when the veterans came in, then we put them in and let them compete with the veterans. And you just have to sit down and evaluate them.
When you're a rookie, you come to camp very optimistic. The coaches will say, well, you know, you've got a great chance of making our team. And it's very hard for a rookie to make a team. You have established veterans in front of you. Coaches don't want to get rid of an established veteran because they know what they can do under pressure, whereas a rookie, they're taking a chance.
But the thing you have to realize is that most of these guys were all conference, all American, all district from somewhere. They were the #1 guy on college campuses. They come to professional ranks and they're Joe Blow. They're nobodies.
But really, I take everything one step at a time, and I just can't, you know, I concentrate on the game, but also I have fun. Like football to me is a fun game. You know, I know it's a business too, but it's also fun. You know, you can get out there, and if you think too much about it, you get too tight, and that's when you make too many mistakes.
Being #1 in college and then coming to a camp like this here, the only thing I can say is just go out and try to do the best job as, you know, that I can do, and just hope for the best. I realized that when I signed that they had John Hewitt and Danny White and 2 fine quarterbacks, but I'm coming down here to try to win a job, and hopefully I will.
You have to be totally negative about the whole thing, and yet you have, once you put your pads on and go on the field, you have to be 100% positive about your own ability that you can do the job, or you wouldn't be out there.
We get one guy, in fact, we'll use that line. Whoever lines up in that line will lead the other 3. Now he comes, everybody is in again, you always keep going back to the basic football position. So we're low, our shoulders are slunched, we're ready to hit, our feet are chopping, and all we want are moves back and forth.
Came right back here, now you're waiting for him and handing the ball off way up in here. Give him a chance. Come back there with that ball. Give it back here. Now he's got more time to read that pole. Go tight end backside. Come out with the east. Two split receivers. Okay, tight end will be over here. All right, that's the weak side. But I'm going to go back. Sure do. You treat him like a tight end on pass cut. 3 receivers.
We got to be close enough out there, cornerbacks, that you got deep third. We got to be close enough that you're not going to get beat out there, but still tight enough that we're going to discourage the out.
It's a mental strain on you. You really have to, you know, like almost force yourself to get up every day because you know the same thing's going to happen. You know, you're up at 7 o'clock in the morning. You have breakfast, and you're on the field at 9. And you're off at 11, you have lunch, and then you're on your field at 3, and everything's the same old thing.
It gets to you each practice session, you know, because you got the show, and they're constantly on you, you know, and you know you got veterans coming, and you know you got to show far above the veterans even to stay here, you know, so it's pressure constantly. But you try to hide your pressure, you try to do your best, you know, every time you get on the field.
Set! Blue 22! Hut! Hut! React! Get off the block. Good job.
Where's Bruce?
Here.
Bruce. Okay. That's the last play, gentlemen. Last one.
Make it a good one.
Yeah. Tackle.
Come on, Bruce, let's get us going.
What do we need? Stu, bring it in.
Pro. You say knee. Straight. 1, 2. Ready?
Gangway.
What you got? Con. Red. Set. Blue. 13.
You have to hit the...
It's such a personal thing with every young man, you know. To us, you know, it's maybe 35 or 40 rookies that are cut, but to each one of those, this is an important thing in their life. It really is. This very well could be the termination of their football playing days. I think a player senses that when it's about to happen. I think a player senses a day or two in advance. He knows that I didn't have a good day, or the veterans are looking better, or some other rookie's looking better, or I'm just not getting the job done, and they sense it. They feel it.
Wake up every morning and you think about it, and all of a sudden a guy comes to say, I just got cut, man. You really feel bad for him, but it's hard to, it's hard to take that. For a rookie, look at another guy, then all of a sudden you think, well, I could be next.
You really never know if any time that door opens, if it is somebody to let you know that you have to go see Coach McVay, or that, somebody wants to see and you have to go down there.
Pretty hard to make friends, because once you make friends, you might get to know them for really good for a couple hours. Next thing you know, they're gone.
The early cuts are really not that traumatic because they're not that hard to make. There's just all kinds of players out there that haven't got a chance to play pro football. And even though they've sacrificed some to get into a pro camp, they've almost accomplished what they want by being there. And if they hang on a few days, at least they can go out and say, well, I tried out, and most of them say I was the last cut.
I think we had good effort today, and saw some things we liked, and I'm sure you saw some things, and I saw some things that aren't quite good enough. We'll put that list up at noon, and with something we don't want to do, but something we have to do, and we'll put up another list this evening. And then, as you know, the veterans will be coming in. Tonight we'll have a meeting. That's an 8 pattern. Same with this. Outside pressure, breaking for the post. That's what we call our 8 pattern. You got that? That's how we... Now, you have to memorize this tree. This is supposed to look like a tree to you. And it's got the trunk of the tree, and the branches are the routes.
I know what you mean. When this linebacker's folding back in here like this, this guy's going here.
Right.
This defensive end runs himself out of the play, but you just chip on up and pick up the man that's folded in on the play, if he's going hard to the outside.
There's plenty of emotion there because you get very attached to players who you've worked with for a month and maybe gone through 2 or 3 exhibition games with, and all of a sudden your roster has to come down to 38 or whatever, and you have to cut players that you know can play. In some cases, it's really not much more than a flip of a coin to determine one from another.
And you kind of feel a little bit for him, but yet still in your own heart you have to say, better he than me, because you're still trying to survive for yourself. And that's the real rough part about being a rookie. You tend to bleed with the other guy. And now I've become a little hardened to the fact now, because I realize it is a business.
It kind of makes you feel like an animal when they talk about, the cut list. Well, like they didn't even post a cut list this afternoon, and I thought, well, if they were going to cut people, they know who they're going to cut, but they're keeping them out here anyway. It doesn't seem like they have much consideration for the players, themselves, because I figured they didn't cut it all this afternoon, and they said they were going to be cutting after every practice. It seems they're just keeping people on to use them as bodies, numbers.
Do you feel like these guys that you know right now are not going to make it? Do you feel like, wouldn't it be better to just release them now so they might be able to catch on with another team?
Well, we've got to protect ourselves in case of injury. We can't let these people go too early and then have several injuries, and these people are so close to the people that are probably going to start for us this year that there wouldn't be a big loss, if we had to use these people.
Basically, we only are machinery in the entire system. And if I cannot do the job, if my parts wear out, the wheel won't roll, they have to bring in another wheel that'll roll.
Coach is very unvocal about how he feels you're doing. I may feel that I'm having a very good double day. I may feel that I had an excellent day today, but I have no idea how he views my position as compared to the other players. So even though you may think you're doing well and I may be 100% positive about my chances, I have no idea how he's viewing it, and he's the one that's going to be doing the cutting.
We know what size and what weight. There are factors involved in lateral movement, straight ahead speed, backward movement. Our linebackers are compared and stacked up to linebackers in the NFL. We know exactly what it takes to play football.
For a player to come to a camp, either in college or in professional football, and come to camp and be tight, he's not going to be able to perform his best. He's got to come in and be relaxed and try hard, but relaxed and do the best he can. And I think everybody understands that coming. It's pure competition. It's a pure competitive situation. And I think they understand that coming in. And many, many guys, after they're released or get waivers, they'll say, thanks for the opportunity to come and show that if or not I could do it.
You know, it'd be nice to make that much money out of 6 months out of the year, but the pressure is from your friends. What are you going to tell them when you go back home if you don't make it? Say, well, use an excuse or something. Maybe you'd use that, but, you know, I guess you just go back home and say I wasn't good enough, and everybody would say, well, you did real good in college. What happened to you, you know? But everybody is expecting you to make it, and that's the rough part, I think.
I have a wife at home, and she's expecting, and I have a major in physical education, and I go home and start coaching. And I don't know, it's I get cut, there's a lot of more games in life you can go to.
Yeah, well, that's a hurting thing, you know, after, you know, burning yourself out, you know, well, hoping that you get a break, you know, and being looked at, you know, very hard, you know. But it's something, man. You know, I can't really figure it out. You know, I figured that at least the coach could, you know, help you a little bit more. You know, like guys just burn themselves out, you know, knowing that they're going to get cut, you know. And
first thing, I hope my mother has my money here in time enough for me to leave in case, you know, I got the axe. But, you know, like I say, I try hard not to think about it. You know, it bothers me when I think of, you know, the way my mother feels about things that I want to do. She's all in my corner, and I'd hate to let her down.
Pro quarterback sneak, okay? Pro quarterback sneak on 2. Ready? 2.
Wonder!
Set! Red! 11! Hut! Hut!
The first time I really got clobbered was in the rookie scrimmage. All football players are afraid of that first hit. And I took about 4 steps through the middle of the line, and I was so frightened that when I came across the line of scrimmage, that to the left of me was 30 yards of open field. But I was so frightened that I can't even remember what I saw when I came through the line. When you go up to the line and you put your hands up under the center, and you take that snap, there's an unbelievable rush of movement and of sound, and it happens all at once, in just one instant, and it's really frightening. When that ball snaps into your hands and you hear these bodies, just tremendously huge bodies, just crashing into each other, and you hear the grunts and the groans and the air coming out of their bodies, and you hear them charging at you, and you can actually hear their cleats grabbing in the grass. And you can hear all this. It's really amazing how much detail you can hear. Well, when the vets came to camp, a lot of the rookies had just wanted to hang around so that they could see and practice with Larry Zonka, Jim Kick, and Paul Warfield. We had been together a week, the rookies, and we had grown pretty close, and of course, we had made quite a few friends. Then all of a sudden, all these foreign guys, of course, the veterans, had come in. And you know, for a week, we were the Memphis Southmen, the rookies, and we were a team. In fact, we were the whole team. And then, all of a sudden, we were back down on the bottom. Whereas before, in the rookie week, you know, everybody was pretty much equal. But when the vets came to camp, I think it was a tremendous letdown for all of the rookies.
I was tight. That's the tightest I've ever been in my life, I think. Like when the rookies were here, they were just like me, you know. We were starting from scratch, trying to get a job. I was relaxed. They were relaxed. It really didn't seem to bother us. And then when I found myself that it was myself and another rookie, and the vet's in town now, kind of tensed up a little bit. I tightened up. I wasn't as relaxed as I normally was during the week, and kind of hurt me.
As a veteran, there's several different ways you can look at them. You can look at them as a threat, if you're very, very cold to them, and just be very aloof. But quite honestly, I don't see any of them as a threat. And if they are, if there's some rookies that are better than I am, fine, I'll retire.
The rookies are still in their locker room, the vets are still in theirs, and the rookies really don't get to know the vets unless the vet takes his time out and helps a rookie out in the field. But it rarely happens right away. I mean, the rookie's scared to death to come up and talk to the vet and say, hey, what's your name and what you doing and all that.
Professional football is extreme professionalism. You have to be yourself. You have to go after and complete things for yourself. Every day you see close friends being tossed aside because they're no longer useful in the sport. That's a strain. You have to learn to reckon with that and go on.
Well, I try to help them. A lot of people harass rookies. I mean, that's the thing. You become a veteran, as in any job, I guess. The more experienced you are, you sort of look down at people that are, a rookie in their job. But I try to help rookies, and I feel they're out to do the same thing. I know how they feel, do the way I felt, and I try to show them a little of my experience, what I've learned, and just talk to them because I know how they feel, and it's rough enough playing football rather than be harassed.
Well, my relationship with a rookie is essentially he's a teammate of mine. I don't think that I should have any less respect for him because he is a first-year player. Certainly, I'm the established professional. I've been through the pro football wars. I have the experience, and those are some of the qualities that make me a pro. He has not yet experienced what I have experienced on this level. Consequently, he's just feeling his way.
A veteran will come in here, he realizes that he's had the job before, he knows what is expected of him. He's able to do the things that he knows he must do to maintain his job. And so it's just really a confidence level and the experience factor between a veteran and a rookie.
There's no way that a young person in a new endeavor like professional football can fake it. You have to have experienced a lot of things. When you've experienced a lot of things, you don't have to really pop off about them, you know. And people around you know that you know. And I think this is probably the simplest explanation I have is for the confidence factor and the air that quietly pervades over veteran ball players. They've been there.
I can truthfully say that Birmingham was definitely the most frightening and scary experience I've ever been through in my entire life. I have never been more petrified than the first time when we went out onto that football field. When we went out onto Legion Field, there were like 35 to 40,000 people there, and Legion Field is made out of steel, and there's a lot of noise that the fans create by just stomping their feet. And when you get all these people yelling and screaming, and you go out to the clean and nice AstroTurf field, you just get a tremendous feeling of energy and electricity.
First seat in the house is on the sideline. To stand on the sideline between the 35-yard lines and try to see what's going on in the football game is not all it's cracked up to be. You just can't see everything very well. That's why we have spotters upstairs. But you can see some things. You can see individual play, or you might be able to see this side of the line play pretty well. And you see guys that are doing things right. You see some players who are doing some things wrong. And you know, he said, oh boy, he missed his block, or he missed the tackle, or he went the wrong way, or he fumbled the ball, or something. You can see those kind of mistakes, and naturally you feel badly when you see them because you know you've practiced and practiced and practiced doing those very things, and the things we do in practice we hope are going to be the things we're going to do in the ball game. But yeah, you hate to see those things happen on the field that are different than the things that you practice. You get out there, you know, your hair kind of stands up on ends, and you just kind of tingle, and you can imagine what it's like when you're playing a regular ball game. And we were just in a scrimmage. But you can imagine the electricity and the excitement and so on that goes on when you're about to have a real, honest-to-God football game.
I can't say enough about what John Huart, the Southman quarterback, did to prepare me for the Birmingham game. He settled me down, and we were talking on the plane, and I was thinking about running all these complicated plays and everything. And John said, Bob, run the plays that you started out with. Run the simple plays, the ones you know you can execute. And he told me about relaxing and thinking about only what I was going to do when I got out on the field. And one of the most important things he told me was that when you go out there, you're going to want to be nervous and you're going to want to speed things up. You're going to want to do everything real quick. He said, when you go out there, purposely think about doing things slow and easy. And when I did go into the game, I thought, now go slow, go slow. And I did things slow, but actually I was so nervous that I had so much energy that it turned out to be full speed. But thinking that I was going to slow down, it kept me from making too many mental mistakes. I was really happy that all the plays had gone well, even though it was tremendous work and it was probably the toughest thing I've ever had to do. I felt a tremendous letdown because it was all over. In just one moment, I went from being inside the football team to outside the football team.
The Rookie has been sponsored by the professionals at Bluff City Buick GMC, the South's largest Buick dealer.